The first day of the grid break grind offered some really encouraging signs. I thought that I had a solid foundation to build on as I went through my first ranked session with a dominant win rate. Sure, there were also many instances of me floundering around, but it was day one. I just needed another couple of days tops until I was beyond a beginner and ready to dominate the upcoming group stage. Right? Bro. I got assigned to Team Rockhawk, who is an extremely strong Byakuya player that actually used to go to my locals. He's had some crazy great placements in some of the biggest stages as proof, and a lot of the Southeast Uni community have nothing but great things to say about him, so I was very excited to learn from him. Somehow, this Byakuya player weaved together a team with 2 other Byakuyas to coach. Our Team 1 teammate Hunter Faye, who just won Max Mode for Uni 2, and Made in Heaven, our Tier 2 Midwest Melty Muscle. At Tier 4, we have Zero, who is a fantastic, well-known commentator. He'll be holding it down with Akatsuki. Then at Tier 3, you have little old me. Maybe I was a bit overzealous to recommend myself as a Tier 3 player when I had virtually no time in the game. However, I chose to be confident in my skills as a fighting game player and student to give myself the challenge of being in this tier with some other strong players. Of course, this challenge meant that I had my work cut out for me, so I didn't look like a fish out of water come the group stage happening in just over a week. As such, I immediately hopped into a couple of beginner tournaments to get to grinding, and I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain right now. It was definitely a humbling experience. Even among other beginner players, my lack of experience showed. I went 1 and 2 in the training mode network bracket and then followed it up with a 2 and 4 Swiss bracket run in the Uni 2 BL monthly. Reality check doesn't even begin to describe what it felt like to be run through the ringer by other players I had thought to be at my skill level. There were just so many elements of the game and characters that I thought that I wasn't familiar with, and my opponents rightly took advantage of that. I was uncomfortable defensively, which led to me getting opened up like a bed of oysters at a seafood bar every time I had to block. Neutral was a slog because I didn't know matchups or even what tools I was supposed to use with Izumi in which situations. And even when I could score a hit, I could not finish a combo if my life depended on it. There was a phone on that I fought that didn't even have combos but killed me with single hit knowledge checks, and I couldn't make up the damage difference because I didn't know how to do my damn combos. After coming over from other fighting games where I had the confidence and capability to counter habits that I recognized, play into matchups I've studied for hours on end, and do combos in my sleep, this felt awful. I was extremely frustrated with the place I found myself in, but I have a rule when it comes to times like this. You're allowed to be upset, but only if you do something productive about it. So the first thing I did about it was stay up until 4 a.m. practicing my confirms with input delay on like a psychopath. Of course, I also had coaches and teammates to leverage in my path to improvement, so I got a coaching session with Rockhawk on the calendar to go over some of these matches. I was fully expecting to get lambasted for the novicehood on display in these matches, like how I would be coached in football if I had a bad game. However, Rockhawk was very measured in understanding and taking me through what he saw from my matches, which was honestly amazing. He didn't drown me with things I did wrong in every lost interaction, and I think that's because he recognized that I wouldn't even know what he was talking about. Instead, he just took it back to basics. He reminded me that I don't even know my own character yet because of my lack of time in the game. So he broke it down and tasked me with figuring out 2 things. 1, what do I do that gets a hit? 2, what can I do to turn that hit into damage and or a knockdown? It was a very simple approach to how I could understand Izumi and the flow of the game, but simplicity was exactly what this new nematode needed. Beyond Izumi herself, Coach wanted me to try using chain shift as well as meter anytime it was possible. Even if it felt like I was wasting it, the goal was to gain consciousness of when I had those resources available to me. Plus, I would learn meter grows on droves of mangroves in this game, so I should use it whenever I get it. For defense, his approach for me getting a baseline understanding was just as plain. Blocking is rewarded in this game through building grid, so I should be content to down back, or as I saw a uni player call it, IC1. Rather than focusing on immediately getting out of pressure, I should look for my reaction point versus people resetting pressure. Those are typically moments where characters do a big move to steal their turn with plus frames or just dashing back in to close quarters for more strike throw. As straightforward as it sounds, there is a lot of variability in when these occur among characters and players. However, that baseline for what I'm even looking for when I'm trying to recognize patterns made it easier for me to digest information that the opponent would show me with their pressure. Finally, when it came to neutral, Rockhawk stressed the significance of identifying the effective ranges of characters. This is a very fundamental fighting game concept, but Coach did a great job of contextualizing it for Uni 2. For example, one problem matchup that I had was Gordeau. He's a character that's really good up close and equally strong sitting at a spacing from almost full screen. I didn't really understand the latter when I would try to create space and zone him with projectiles just for him to hit me with his scythe or claws. Where he's weakest is that in-between space, so I should be aiming to play at that mid-range. I took it upon myself to become more mindful of where a character would want to be on the screen for their optimal game plan and what players preferred by extension. All of this was fine and dandy to write in a notepad, but it wasn't going to fully sink in unless I practiced. As such, Rockhawk assigned me very easy homework: keep playing the game. Not one to disobey my coaches, especially when they've been super helpful, I hopped on to rank to ingrain the key coaching points. Through the reps I mounted up, I got much more consistent with combos. On top of that, I became more comfortable in being patient and mindful defensively, so I would both build resources to practice using and focus on what my opponent was showing rather than frantically trying to get out. During all the games, I started to understand more about Izumi's kit and the utilities that her moves had. I was better able to use certain options with purpose and then respond to how the opponent would react to said options. I even landed some nice anti-air confirms, which sounds so easy but felt impossible not a couple of days ago. My rank was quickly rising, my confidence was following suit, and I was in a much better spot. As the group stage drew closer, the next couple of days were spent understanding matchups for characters I was going to run into in my group. So I called on some people that played those champions for long sets and advice. The first character I focused on was Enkidu, so I got in some games with another Robin who I spar with frequently in Grand Blue and consider to be a fighting game natural. After that it was Phonon, which featured games against Glacy. She's a very established rep of the character and is also participating in Grid Break on another team. Thankfully she was nice enough to give me games and tips despite the competition. By the way, everyone in this event is so damn nice and friendly, it's crazy. To round out the practice, I got in some Akatsuki games against Hunter, my tier 1 GOAT who just happens to play a lot of the cast. I'm not gonna give away too much of what I learned in case my opponents are watching, but trust, it was very valuable. These sets were back and forth at best and a Titan's chance in the ocean at worst. Still, the important thing was I was gaining familiarity with these matchups. Plus, everyone was giving me extra notes to consider for when I fight them in the group stage. I still had moments where I would beat myself up for not winning the sets against them, but let's be for real. These are established tournament players in this game, some of them placing very highly at large events, so them saying I'm making progress is a real win in and of itself. There's more matchup work and ranked games that happen, but I was already in the process of making this video. The timeline for it is already cooked as it is because I have to get this out before the event this weekend and I don't have a lot of time to do it. All in all though, this week was a nautical nutshell of the learning process. We established a baseline, faced our setbacks, worked through them with support from others, and kept the focus on getting better with each game. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. The support that you showed the day 1 Grid Break video was unreal, and I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed this preparation period recap just as much. If you did, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing with other people who like Undernight and fish puns. Both of those will be in surplus on this channel as I continue my participation in Grid Break, starting with the upcoming group stage this weekend as of the filming of this video, so don't miss it. For now, I've been Zamir Stills, and I will see you in the next video. Get it? See, because of water and